Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Golden Blue Dude. So, Chris had messaged me about an hour and a half ago and told me he was sick, not feeling well today, and wasn't going to be able to do a live show. So, he asked me if I'd come on and do a live show. Sure, why not? Let's do it. So, I got a guest with us tonight. We got a few more that's going to come in as well. But Side Guy is here with me. What do you say, Jeff?
Hey Joey, hope you're doing well.
I am. I'm doing very well. Um, uh, Give me just 1 second. Go ahead and talk to everybody and give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, while we're waiting, everybody out there, if you haven't already, hit the like button. It hits that algorithm. That way this video will get suggested more. And if you're not already, join Patreon. Every week we have Patreon show. And also for as little as $2 a month, you can get in the Pick'em contest. And right now you can win $20 a week in the Pick'em. So even if you spent $5, if you got one right, that's $20. It'd pay for 4 months of your time. So I really suggest anybody out there who's not a Patreon member, sign up. You're missing out.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, and we got a show coming up Sunday on Patreon. We do a Sunday live stream here on the channel. Then we go over to Patreon and do another hour. And I'm going to have I'm doing everything I can to get a special guest this Sunday for the show. And I'll do it. I don't know if I'll have him on YouTube or if I'll have him on Patreon. Probably Patreon. Um, I'll have a special guest over there. Well, so Jeff, I thought maybe what we do because we got kind of short notice on this, so I didn't really prep too much and things. I thought maybe we'd go over the lines for the games this weekend. And you were saying something about there's supposed to be a game tonight. I hadn't seen that, but
Yeah,
so did it get
unfortunately,
canceled? You think?
UCF was supposed to play SMU tonight. It got changed from Saturday to Wednesday night, and I just seen on my phone that they have now canceled it for tonight and they moved it to Sunday. So the
Huh.
hurricane must really be wrecking havoc.
Well, it is. I think everybody was expecting a Category 2 or Category 3, and it came on as a Category 4, almost a 5. And and this is where I could go preaching about evacuating, but I won't. But I served as a disaster director for the American Red Cross for several years, about 5 years. I've seen destruction firsthand. I've seen what happens when people don't evacuate. I had the unfortunate thing to have to see a family with a couple of kids up in a tree, uh, passed away. So, and it is very hard. So, I'm always telling everybody to evacuate and get out of there.
Yeah,
So we've got some people in chat with.
I tell
Go
everybody if
ahead.
it's a Category 2, they're saying plan on it being a 3 or 4. Always expect worse. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's see who we got with us in the chat today. So we got West Virginia Mountaineer Lair with Kenny. What do you say, Kenny? Nice to see you here. We got Swordy Stories in the house. Of course, that guy was with us here, but Will, there you are, Will. Will, come on in with us. Let's see, we have Jeffrey Russell. Jeffrey, nice to see you in here. And a lot of people are chatting. SEC Dog, Joey, and Tide Guy. Good evening. Good evening there, SEC Dog.
hey, SEC Dog, I hope you're
Lightbot's
doing
in here
good.
with us. Dustin's in here. Dustin Weinberg. What do you say, buddy? And Charlie Orlinger. And there's quite a few others, but not everybody's chatting. And there's Golden Blue Dude. He's not feeling well tonight, but and Zona Tucson, nice to see you in here. Jeffrey Foster, what's up? Nice to see you as well. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. So I thought we'd go over some games. Let's talk about some game lines and give everybody our picks. But before we get started, let me say this: don't listen to us and bet on what we say.
Yeah,
This is not betting advice. I promise you.
exactly.
Uh, I mean, I am not real good at this, but I do pick up. I have been perfect with my upset picks this year. Absolutely perfect. I have not missed one upset pick this year. Um, and my upset pick is actually tomorrow night, so I'll tell everybody that in a minute. Friday night. Thursday night, Utah State and BYU. BYU 24.5 point favorite. I don't see any upset going on there.
No, but I wonder if Utah State covers. Um, BYU didn't look great against Oregon. They looked pretty good against Baylor, but that was a low-scoring game. Utah State, I got to watch them play Bama the first game of the year. They're not a bad team. They actually went 9-3 last year, so I would hate to bet on that game because I could see it going either way. I can see Baylor possibly, covering, but I don't think I would bet on that one.
Yeah, maybe I would bet on it either because, but like you say, they could cover it. You could take Utah State. It's 24.5 point. That's kind of going with the odds of saying, okay, Utah State's going to cover that. But then at the same time, you don't know. BYU, man, if the same team shows up that played Baylor, they could blow Utah State away. But,
exactly.
And the over on it, even over under, I wouldn't touch it. The over under is 60. I wouldn't touch that. So,
no.
All right, Friday night. This is where I'm picking an upset. Tulane and Houston. Houston's a 2.5 point favorite. I'm taking Tulane to straight up upset them. I'm taking the money line at plus 120 and taking Tulane.
See, and I take Tulane outright also. Tulane's actually a good team this year. They played really, really well. And I have seen nothing out of Houston that can show me that they would beat Tulane. I mean, that's not a good football team down there in Houston right now.
No, it's not. And there's some turmoil down there too, from what I understand, with Dana and some of the staff and things. So, yeah, it's in a bad state. Let me see what Golden Voodoo's saying here. Bring it up here. If West Virginia beats Texas, it could be a repeat of last year for Texas, losing a close game to a great team, Oklahoma last year, Alabama this year, and just couldn't get that loss out of their heads. I agree. Let's send them on another 6-game losing streak. What do you say?
The problem with that Texas game is the biggest factor in that is their quarterback. Supposedly he's back. Is he back?
Yeah.
Is he healthy? Is he rusty because, he's been out since the Bama game? I truly believe West Virginia beats them without him. And with him, I think they still beat him, but I think it's going to be a much, much closer game.
I'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and talk about that game for a minute because it's interesting, because Golden Blue Dude brought it up. So let's talk about that for a minute. Here's my thoughts on the Texas situation and them losing last week, and now got West Virginia, who's one of the better offenses in the country, coming into Austin. They have a problem on defense. That problem is they have a defensive coordinator that has a job to do, and when they're doing good and that defensive coordinator has them hopping and they have good defense like they did against Alabama, everybody in Texas said that was Gary Patterson. Gary Patterson did that. Last week, they played horrible defense, and everybody's jumping on the defensive coordinator, not Gary Patterson, and saying, it's your fault that our defense was bad. That's a culture problem. They're back to the culture problem. So I just don't see Texas being able to win the game. That spells big problems, if you ask me. Because you got a defensive coordinator like they have sitting in the background as an analyst. Gary Patterson sitting back there as an analyst. And the fans are saying when they play good defense, well, that's Gary Patterson. But when they play bad defense, well, that's on their defensive coordinator. That's not on Gary Patterson. I'm sorry. That's problems, if you ask me.
But you also have to think about it like this. You can say it's Patterson, and it was Patterson. But Texas, all spring and all August, they didn't prep for the first game because they knew they were going to win the first game. They prepped for Alabama. They put all their eggs in the basket that they were going to beat Alabama. And you know what? They almost did. Yeah. So, I mean, I give them kudos. They played really, really well. But the problem is they used, 4 to 6 weeks to prepare for Alabama. And then since Alabama, that defense hasn't looked anywhere near what it did against Alabama. And then when they lost their quarterback, that offense don't look nearly as good either. So I think West Virginia has a lot of advantages in this game, but I do think if Ewers does come back and if Ewers is really close to 100%, I think this is a really good game. I think it could really go either way. I would pick West Virginia to still win, but I think this game is going to come down to like a field goal. I don't see it being a blowout unless Ewers isn't playing, and then I would probably pick West Virginia by probably 7-10.
Yeah.
I think there's a culture problem at Texas. I think that they think that they're Texas and that they're better than everyone that's not named Alabama, Ohio State, or Georgia. And I don't know. I just can't trust Texas anymore. I'm sure the crowd's going to be – I'm sure they're going to be mad that they lost to Texas Tech. But I still think – I don't know. Like, I'm leaning Texas just because of that. But I think West Virginia can definitely pull it out. And JT Daniels can keep them in the game with pretty much anyone.
Well,
So
and what a lot
special
of people
shout
don't
out
know.
to D4. I'm gonna put this up on the screen, and I kind of ripped this off of D4 off his video where he broke down the game. And let me bring it up here. There we go. So this is the Texas and West Virginia team comparisons. West Virginia is averaging 42.8 points per game. Texas is averaging 36.5. West Virginia is giving up 27.5, and Texas is giving up 21.8. So there's a 6-point difference on both ends, and that kind of washes out. So that tells you it's probably going to be a pretty close game, most likely. Offense, 490 total yards per game for West Virginia, 409 for Texas, so about 80 more yards for West Virginia. Passing 272 to 244 in favor of West Virginia. Rushing 217 to 165 in favor of West Virginia. This is where the big difference comes in. Defense, West Virginia 302.8 total yards. Texas 380 total yards per game their defense allows. West Virginia defense passing is 204.5. Texas is 245. Rushing, West Virginia 38.3 yards a game compared to Texas 135 yards a game. Now, if you look at our rushing yards of 217.5 per game on offense, and they give up 135 rushing yards per game, I think we'd be able to run all over them. But they're only getting 165 rushing yards a game. And if D4 is correct, if that number is correct, and it probably is, we've stopped everybody, 38.3 rushing yards a game, I say we can stop Bijan Robinson and hold him in check. Our secondary is a little bit questionable, but their quarterback is coming back for the first game. He may be a little rusty. So we may not, we might be, maybe we can force some pressure on him and get him a little flustered.
And I think that's going to be important. You have to stop the run because even when if Ewers is back, he's not going to be 100%, I don't think. So he's going to need that running game. And if they can't run the ball and you can force them into 3rd and long, continuously, that's really going to hurt Texas. And one point I wanted to bring up, like Will was saying, with the culture in that, Nick Saban was offered $10 million to go to Texas. And this was back in 2011. And that was before a coach made $10 million. And Nick Saban turned it down. And the biggest reason Saban turned it down is it's the same thing Mac Brown said. The boosters. The coaches spend more time with boosters than they do with players. And that's a problem. The boosters need to get out of these coaches' way. I understand, they think they spend millions and millions, so they own this club, but they don't, and until a coach truly takes over, I don't see Texas, going back, winning consistently.
Right. And then you, like I say, when you talk about what I was, when you talk about what I was saying about the culture problems on defense right there, if the fans are wanting Gary Patterson to be their defensive coordinator and they got a different one, that man's not going to be able to do anything right. And everything that does happen right is going to be Gary Patterson that did it, So, and that's a bad problem to have. Aaron Alley, thank you for the $2 super chat. And they say, let's go Mountaineers. Let's go WVU. Yeah. That's for sure. Let's get them shorthorns.
Now, do you guys both
Turn them
agree
horns
though that
down
this is a really important game? And here's why I think it's
for
really
both teams.
important, because of the coaches. West Virginia
Yeah.
wanted Neil Brown fired after 2 games, and now he's doing well. So if he loses now, he's 2-3. Sark went
Yeah.
5-7 last year. So if he starts out 2-3, that's not going to bode well for Texas. So I think to keep the fans down, each of these teams need to win this game, or you're going to hear more comments of, we need a new coach.
Well, also you got to think about it's a conference game. Both teams have lost the conference game. Both teams have one loss in the conference, so there's still a chance that they have a chance to win the conference. So, but whoever loses Saturday probably has no chance of winning this conference. So that makes it a big game as well.
Yeah, Texas boosters aren't going to be happy if they go another year without winning the conference.
Yeah.
Right. And then they're talking about going into the SEC possibly next year. They need to go out of the Big 12 on a high note to go in the SEC, or they don't stand a chance, if you ask me. So another game.
A problem though too, because like you said, coming to the SEC. Let's say they're not coming next year. Let's say they're coming in 2024. Do you fire your coach and bring a new coach in next year? I mean, that's the problem. When you decide to leave conferences and that, you should have your coach 2 years beforehand and ready to go. You can't just hire a new coach, throw him into a whole new conference and hope it'll work.
It kind of worked for A&M, though, to be fair. It kind of worked. But that Johnny Manziel as well. So
yeah.
Aaron Alley, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says University of Houston's in the same boat. And they are. They need to beat Tulane. If they don't, I'll ask you a question, because you're a Houston fan, Aaron. If Dana Holgorsen loses this weekend, does the fans want his head on a chopping block? I'm just curious, because Dana's not done that great. So I just got a text message that says Northwestern has just announced a new $800 million stadium to be built on campus.
Oh wow!
So that's big news. There's a lot of teams that are investing in their future for football. A lot of teams, and blame Northwestern during the Big Ten, but there's other teams too, like Connecticut, San Diego State, Fresno State.
Did you hear about Iowa State?
Right, Iowa State, and
Iowa State just invested $300 million, and I don't know what all the building is going to be, but it's going to be a building in between the football and basketball stadium.
Right.
It's supposed to be like a shopping center and different meeting rooms and stuff. So there's a lot of schools investing a lot of money.
Kansas has announced, I can't remember the number now, but I think it was upward of $200 million going into their football facilities as well. So that's
the first thing that the current Notre Dame AD Jack Swarbrick said is like, okay, we need to upgrade the facilities, because he got there at the tail end of the Weiss era, fired Weiss after his first season at Notre Dame. The facilities hadn't been updated since Devine was coach. So that just shows how much. And then that's part of the reason why Notre Dame went up when Kelly got there, because the facilities they weren't even good, and even when Lou Holtz was there, and it really helped recruit him.
Yeah. Aaron Alley, thank you for the $5 super chat. And he says, I don't speak for anybody else, but if it was me, his head would definitely be on the chopping block. Talking about Dana Holgorsen. Yeah, I agree. West Virginia fans had been trying to warn Houston fans that he's not that good of a coach, and I think it's unfortunate that you got to find out by losing, but that's the only way you do find out. He's not a good recruiter. He's not a good coach. He's a great offensive coordinator. Great. I mean, I'd love to have him back at West Virginia as offensive coordinator, but not as a coach, not as head coach. So there's a debate in the chat about that.
the nice thing about Houston right now is Houston is a stepping stone. Coaches went there to move on to Texas and other places, but now that Houston is going to the Big 12 next year, it might actually draw a really decent coach, not a top tier coach, but a decent coach and a coach that would stick around, So I think now I know I said with Texas, you don't want to fire your coach going in the SEC, but as far as Houston, they're not arrogant like Texas. So for them to do it, I think it would work. And I think right now would probably be a great time to hire the coach because the coach would be the first coach in the Big 12. And, I think he could do good things. And I think you would find a decent coach right now.
I don't think they'll fire him. I think because he did the transition with West Virginia into the Big 12. And I think that's what Houston's looking at right now is this is a transition into the Big 12. Dana's been through the transition before. He knows what to expect. So I don't think they'll fire him this year. But now, once they're in the Big 12 come next year and they're losing to everybody, because they are going to lose to everybody, every Power 5 program in the Big 12, they might beat one or two teams, but they'll lose most of them. They'll be lucky if they finish with 6 wins at the end of the year, and I doubt if they will. Then you're going to have, then they will fire Dana Holgorsen because they'll have a year of transition under their belt. So, but I don't think they'll fire him this year just simply because of the transition. Another super chat from Aaron Alley. Let's see what they're saying. $5 super chat. Thanks, Aaron. I'm saying if we can get a coach just as good as Tom Herman, we would be good. Why don't you go back to Tom Herman?
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would go after Chadwell from Coastal Carolina as well.
Oh, yeah. Chadwell would be an excellent coach.
I heard he's being linked to Georgia Tech.
Yeah. So there's a debate in the chat about horns up and horns down. I don't know who it's between. I know it's between Golden Blue Dude and somebody. Maybe J.K. Marshall or Mad Skid Sipper. I'm sorry. I don't know, but about the horns up and horns down. And it is true. They can do this, and that's not a penalty. But if you do this, it's a penalty. That's bull. It's the same thing. It's just
it won't be a penalty when they come to the SEC.
Yeah,
we don't like problems in the SEC.
Well, Texas will come to the SEC thinking they can push that conference around like they do in the Big 12. And that's a bad thing. Another game. Let's talk about this game here because this will be a good game. This will be a game I'll watch for sure. Now, I'm going to watch Tulane and Houston on Friday night. But another good game. San Diego State at Boise State. Boise State is 6-point favorite. San Diego
Boise
State
looked terrible against UTEP.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. I think San Diego State's been looking pretty decent. That might be a game I'd call for an upset for as well, but I think I'd take the points here. I would take San Diego State in the 6.
But then you wondered, though, does that San Diego team that played Arizona the first game of the year, do they show up? I mean, both teams at different times, haven't played that well. And I mean, when you came into this season, everybody thought Arizona or San Diego State was going to be good. Everybody kind of has them as going to the Pac-12 or even the Big 12. They're not a Power 5 team, but I think they're probably the top of the group of 5 as far as, going to the expansion. So everybody had them thinking they were going to play really well. And I don't think San Diego State has played that well. And Boise State has looked awful.
San Diego State did beat Toledo, and Toledo is the favorite to win the MAC. So they definitely looked a bit better against Toledo.
Aaron Alley, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says I'm not sure if he's going to coach football anymore. Guess we're talking about Tom Herman. Yeah, I believe he would. Money talks.
It's all about the money.
Yeah. All about the money. That's right. I'm going to put the StreamYard link in the chat. Listen, for people in the chat, if you want to come in, it's great. Come on in and, we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. But I'm not going to have too many in the stream at one time. We might have 4 of us, and I'll rotate it out. So So if somebody wants to come in and ask a question or talk for a little bit, that's fine. Then when somebody else shows up, we're going to rotate them out and bring somebody else in. All right, let's go back to these games. Washington, UCLA. Now, here's the game I was talking about. Washington will have more fans there than UCLA. It's at UCLA. Washington will have more fans, so it's going to be a home game for Washington. They're 3-point favorites. I think I'd make Washington an 8-point favorite. Just my thoughts. I know UCLA is good, but I think Washington's just gonna beat them down.
It depends if UCLA has students back. That would help them a bit.
Yeah, because their students are back this week, right, Will? So that will help them. But I think the way Washington played against Michigan State, I mean, if that Washington team shows up every week, I think they're going to be the Pac-12 champions.
They looked good. So let's go down. Let's go into Saturday's games. let me go down through here and find some really good, interesting games. There we go. Wake Forest, Florida State. And that game's at Florida State, so I guess that's going to be dependent on the weather. But Florida State's a 7-point favorite. You know, I think Florida State will win this game, but I'm going to take Wake Forest in the points. I don't trust Florida State to win it by 7, so I'm going to take Wake Forest in the points.
I got Florida State, and the reason I got Florida State is the weather. I think because of the hurricane, it's going to be wet. Wake Forest, I mean, they'll score 50 points if they can chuck the ball down the field, but if it's going to be a wet game, you know, it does hurt the passing game. So I think, you know, that's going to hurt Wake Forest, and I think Florida State has a much better running game. So I think if Florida State can run trouble passing the ball, I think Florida State will cover. Now, on a sunny day, yeah, I'd have Wake Forest covering, you know, easily. But I think because of the hurricane, because of the weather situation, I'm going with Florida State this week.
Well, I think it'll probably be blown over by then. I mean, you know, I don't even know that it's hitting Tallahassee, to be honest. And it should be blown over by Saturday for sure. So,
hopefully.
Will, what are you thinking?
I mean, Jeff kind of was spot on. Like, I do think that if this was in like a dome, I think Wake Forest for sure. Do we know if Jordan Travis will be back for Florida State?
I heard there's a chance. I don't know for 100%, but I heard there's a chance he comes back, which if he comes back, it would make it even that much more likely.
Aaron Alley, thank you for the $2 super chat. And he says, have a good one. You'll see us next time. Aaron, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you being here. I'm sorry,
I just
Will.
think if there's any sort of rain or if there's any sort of damper on Wake Forest passing game, I mean, I just think that Florida State will win and cover. So, but I mean, of course, if it's like a clear day, I do think that Wake Forest will win. So it really just depends on the weather. You know,
I just feel like Florida State's on borrowed time before they lose. I really do. I said that after week 1. So I just think that this is a good opportunity for Wake Forest to upset them. So I would take Wake Forest in the points. I won't take them straight up, but I will take Wake Forest in the 7 points. You know, so that's just my thought.
But I do think, though, as long as Florida State doesn't lose by more than 7 points, I think you can say if it's a nice day and this and that, let's say, and Wake Forest does beat them, as long as they keep it close, I think we can say Florida State's back. I think you can say, you know, they kind of got over the hurdle. This is probably going to be their coach. And I think even with this loss, we could look at Florida State going 8-4 really easy and possibly even 9-3, which for Florida State would be a huge statement.
Yeah, I agree. It would. All right, another game. This game is at 7:30 on Saturday. NC State at Clemson. Clemson's a 7-point favorite. Over under on this game is 39.5.
I would go with the over. I mean, because think about how many points did East Carolina put up on North Carolina State? 21. So there's half your over right there. So Clemson's offense is better than ECU. So they're going to put up at least 24-28. And North Carolina State, I don't think is as good as everybody gives them credit for, but they're going to put up 20. So, you're looking at least an easy 44, 48 points.
I don't think. Go ahead, Will. I'm sorry.
With that Wake Forest performance, with that secondary, I think NC State has a great chance of winning this game because NC State. I mean, I'm not saying they're maybe a bit better of a passing team than Wake Forest, and I do think that their defense is a bit better. I think there's a high chance of an upset here, in my opinion. I really do. I'm not a big Dave Doran fan, but I think the team that he has, this is their best chance to win at Clemson in my lifetime of watching college football, I think.
And they play just good enough to win. I mean, they are. They're playing just good enough to win. And like you said, unfortunately, Clemson got exposed last week to Wake Forest. So, I mean, at least now North Carolina State has, film on how to beat them. Because let's be honest, Wake Forest beat Clemson last week. They just gave that game away. And so the blueprint is there for North Carolina State, and I agree with Will 100%. If North Carolina State is ever going to beat Clemson at Clemson, it's Saturday.
Matt Seaseeper, turn your camera on for me just a second. All right. What do you say, Jeffrey? What do you say, Matt Seaseeper? Welcome in, guys.
Well, thank you. How you guys doing?
I wanted to come in and discuss something really quick.
Okay.
So, where does everybody get their perception about Texas fans? Just let me know. And I want to know how many of you actually know Texas fans.
Well, I know a lot of
Texas fans.
But who said something about them?
I don't know. Shit, about 10 minutes ago, everybody was talking about how Texas fans were delusional and blah, 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 and how they think they're better than everybody else. Is that what I heard?
No. What you heard, that might have been coming
I guess I'm deaf.
Okay, that might have been coming from the chat room, but on here, I was talking about the boosters. And it's pretty well known that the boosters run that program too much. They get involved way too much. Even Mac Brown said during his time there that he actually had to spend a lot of practice dealing with the boosters instead of with the kids. Texas fans are like every other fan. I mean, I'm a Bama fan, and I'll tell you right now, Bama has 2 million bandwagon fans and 2 million new fans that don't know our history and think if we don't win by 40 points, So I don't ever blame fans because every fan base has their idiots. So I wouldn't say Texas has bad fans.
So I just wanted to set the record straight here, first of all, about this horns down stuff. Okay? No Texas fan has ever, and my 41 years on this earth being a Texas fan, has ever complained about horns down. Ever. It was a penalty one game after West Virginia because they're going up to players' faces and sticking their hand in their face, and they called a taunting call. Now, yes, Joey, don't shake your fucking head. No,
they did it in the crowd.
Then how come no other team has drawn a penalty from it?
Well, I don't know.
They don't want to deal with the crowd.
David Seals got the ball in the end zone and then did horns down to the crowd and got a flag thrown on him. Y'all caught a touchdown in the end zone, did horns up to the crowd, and nothing was done.
Listen, I'm sitting here watching the Arkansas-Missouri State game. They're showing fans doing horns down. The Oklahoma-Kansas State game, they're doing horns down. They're not even playing Texas. People love to think that it bothers Texas fans. Nobody gives you shit. I'm here to set the record straight. Nobody cares. Nobody wants.
I don't know. You sound bothered.
Well,
We're,
let me tell you one
we're
thing.
also not delusional to think that Texas is a national title contender every year. Okay, our fan base knows that Texas sucks. Okay, the coaching sucks. The play calling sucks. We know that. No, we're not delusional over here going, we're better than everybody else. Sip my tea. That's why I had to name myself the Mad Tea Sipper, so everybody else's misconception of Texas fans. It's ridiculous. It's stupid.
But the
And it's
problem is,
ridiculous.
it's
I
not
can
your
guarantee, I can guarantee
it's not your fans, but
there's
your
a big chunk of your
administration.
fan base that does think like that.
Your
No,
administration went to the Big 12 and cried, and that's why the Big 12 made it a penalty. Somebody from Texas, believe it or not, went to the Big 12 and cried, and that's the only reason why it's a penalty. I'm not
Who
saying
said that?
fans.
Somebody? Do you know that part? Is there a story that says that?
Yeah, there's actually
Okay,
a story. I can look it up for you because that's the reason why it's a penalty.
I call bullshit.
So after the game, if you'll watch the press conference after the game, Dana Holgerson was asked, because he was the coach of West Virginia at the time, was asked about the horns down. He said, I don't know why it was a penalty. He said they were flashing horns up, and we asked the officials if it was going to be a penalty if we went horns down. And they said, no, it's not a penalty. And we go and do horns down, and they get us for 2 penalties. They got us twice in that game, once at early in the game and once at the end of the game when we had a game-winning touchdown. So, and then right after that is when they made that rule. It was next week that rule went into effect, that it was a penalty. So someone from Texas
even
had
I
to
heard
complain.
that.
Here's the thing. Everybody loves to hate Texas. Everybody loves to talk trash about Texas. You love to. It's like saying that you're beating up on the retarded kid out on the playground. Texas hasn't had a dog in the fight in years, and everybody still loves to poke and prod and talk shit. I just don't get it. It's like why don't you do that about Vanderbilt? Why doesn't anybody do like? How come nobody gets to talk shit about Vanderbilt?
Because Texas is a blue blood, and they've been losing.
I would invite you on Facebook. When you go on Facebook, you have Facebook, right, Mad Tea Sipper?
No.
Okay. I was going to say, I would invite you to 2 groups. I'm in 4 different SEC groups. And part of the problem with Texas is we got a lot of your fans in there, and 9 out of 10 of them are great. But you got 2 fans in there that just run their mouth all the time. And it's the same with Bama. I mean, we got ours too. Most fans don't hate Texas. And if you've watched this show a long time, I've said since the very beginning, we need all the blue bloods. And Texas is a blue blood. You're one of the 8 blue bloods. We need all of the blue bloods back. We need everybody playing good. We need, we got a 12-team playoff coming up in 2 years or 4 years. I wish all the blue bloods were back. Let's go back to like the 70s when Texas was rolling and USC was rolling and Ohio State is rolling, and let's find out who's the best. I don't want to beat Texas when you're down. I want to beat Texas.
Hey, don't forget about us. Don't forget about us.
It's what?
I didn't even know who Pitt was until last year.
Honestly, though, Matt T. Zipper, it's the fact that you're a blue blood and your program's been on a downward spiral for quite a few years. And every year, you get ranked in the top 25 every year, this, and you always end up dropping out of it within the first few weeks. And, so they're always back, and it's not your fault that you're getting ranked in the top 25. That's the AP voters and coaches poll and stuff. But at the same time, the fans look at that and say, well, now, wait a minute. Texas is in the top 25 and they've done nothing for 10 years. What's going on? But this was the same thing. People talk crap about, and I'm sure Died Guy remembers this. People talk crap about Alabama back in the early 2000s. I mean, they were horrible.
Oh, yeah.
And people talk crap about me every week because we had a really bad start. Like, whenever I'm on, look at the chat. People are just like trashing on me all the time.
Notre Dame is Notre shame. Notre Dame is Notre shame. I mean, it's not just a Texas thing.
Look at me.
This Texas back crap too. Sam Ellinger's big ass head is the one that said that, and it makes me when he said that, I looked at my friend. We're watching the game. I was like, oh no,
yeah,
because I mean we knew it was going to happen, and I don't know why the media continues to say pushes this Texas back narrative. Is Texas back? It's just every time I hear him say, I just want to punch the TV. Because it's just going to come back to bite Texas in the ass every time. And I hate when they rank them.
Pitt is right. Pitt is right. Everybody talks shit about Pitt. Eat shit, Pitt. You hear it everywhere you go. And it used to be just a West Virginia Pitt thing, but now everybody.
It's everybody now.
Yeah, Tennessee's was hollering it before y'all's game. Eat shit, Pitt.
With the Western Michigan game, you could actually hear on TV the student section yelling "Eat shit, Pitt."
Yeah, so it's college football, man. That's what it is.
And then they got beat by a 4th-string QB.
Listen, I'm not in here whining. I'm just trying to set the misconception straight. Okay, I've heard this. Texas fans are delusional and think that they're a natty team every year. Crap for years, and it's just not true. And nobody I know is whining about horns down. Y'all can sit around and do it to each other in your face all you want to. I don't give a shit. So,
yeah.
But the thing is, that your fan base is doing that. That's the problem.
I'm looking at a line here, and I got a question.
The team that always thinks they're national champions is your favorite team there, T-Sipper, Oklahoma. Every year, Oklahoma thinks this is the year they're going to win a national champion, and then they get stomped, But no, I think Texas, I think you guys will be all right. I think once you get in the SEC, I think your recruiting, even though you recruit really high right now, will even help a little bit because of the SEC name. And I think in a couple years, you'll be able to compete in the SEC. I'm not one of these that think you'll be down. I think you guys will get the coach, will get the players. I mean, hell, if Missouri can come in and within a couple years win the East, anything is possible.
I'm looking at a line. I got a question. This is a curious line. Virginia Tech going to North Carolina. North Carolina is only an 8.5-point favorite at home.
What?
It's because of how bad their defense looked against us and how bad our offense looked the first 3 games. Must be what the Vegas is thinking.
Well, and then
they have won a lot of close games, though.
I think North Carolina gave up 40 points to Appalachian State in the 4th quarter. You cannot trust that North Carolina defense at all.
Well, that's true.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah,
North Carolina has won too many close games, in my opinion, and it's eventually going to bite them in the ass, and I really hope it's us. I really do. I really do. I really do. I hate
SEC dog, shut up. Nobody gives a shit, all right?
This isn't Sea-Dog.
Not you. I was talking about the guy in the comments.
No, it's not about anything. But
I don't
that's all right.
see
That's
it. I don't see
it's okay. We don't want no drama in the room. Just drop a drama. Okay, let's go to some other games here. All right, Oklahoma State and Baylor. This ought to be the best game, one of the best games on Saturday. Kickoff at 3:30. Oklahoma State is 2-point favorite over Baylor. The game is at Baylor. I'm sorry, Baylor's 2-point favorite. Baylor's 2-point favorite at Baylor. So they're saying this game's a push, more or less.
Actually, it's a little less than a push because 3 points they usually get for home field, so they're even making it a little lower.
Right. So before the BYU game, I would have said Baylor will win this game, but after watching them at BYU, I don't know that they can beat Oklahoma State. I'm going to have to take Oklahoma State in this game.
But does this force Baylor to win? Because now Baylor's back is against the wall. And I know that BYU is not a conference game, so, they can still lose in the conference. But a 2-loss is done, for any real playoffs or big game. So, it's hard to tell which Baylor team shows up. And I'll be honest with you, that Oklahoma State defense has not looked great all year. So this is one that I would hate to call. Either 2 points Oklahoma State or 2 points Baylor. I think this is one of those games, this might come down to a field goal. Who has the ball last? Well,
the over-under on the game is 56.5. I would take the over on that game.
Same, but I'm not even touching this game. It's too close. I'm not touching it.
Just because of my love Just because I'm a fan of Dave Aranda, I'm taking Baylor, but yeah, this game's too close for me.
Now, Will,
Yeah, it's a battle.
Will, you like Aranda? Are you hearing all the rumors that Nebraska has reached out and talked to him? Do you believe that?
I think that they would. I mean, he's a great coach. Why not try to get him over to Lincoln?
Well, and he checks all the boxes for Nebraska,
Yeah.
and that would be a pay raise for him. I know he says that he loves Baylor, but yeah.
Jeffrey, what are your
I
thoughts?
just want to
know
say
if
I
he
was right about
Baylor.
Whipple.
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State? Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you. I agree with you.
Ugh.
Another great game, another Big 12 game. The Big 12's got some good games this year. Iowa State at Kansas. Iowa State a 3-point favorite. Sorry, I have to go with Kansas. Straight up on the money line, I'm taking Kansas to win that game.
Same.
This to me, I think it should be Kansas and Iowa. I don't think either one should. I think it should be, off. Nobody should be favored in it because I really think Kansas is going to win outright. I really do. Iowa State, what have they really done? I mean, they beat an Iowa team that up to that time, the only touchdown they scored was against Iowa State.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
what do you think?
I'm
What
gonna
do you
have to
think?
agree with
Kansas
Todd.
for real?
I'm gonna have to agree with the guy at the top. I don't think this game's gonna be close. I don't. No,
Yeah.
the thing is though, Kansas' defense isn't really all that great either.
Yeah,
See,
that
and
would be the
that's
only
what-
problem. Iowa State's got a good defense, a pretty good defense. Kansas kind of struggling on defense, but Kansas has such a potent offense that I don't think Iowa State.
exactly. I don't want to give no discredit to what's his name? Is it Jalen Daniels?
Yeah, Jalen.
Okay, he is one hell of a quarterback. To take a team who's not known to be that good recently or ever, to be to my knowledge, and they're ranked. They're in the national conversation. When has Kansas ever been in the national conversation spotlight like this?
2007.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
well,
the last
that
time.
was the year, Joey, that was the year,
Yeah, that was the year. That's for sure. That was the year for everybody. Anybody was ranked number 2.
Yep.
Oh, my God. See, that's what I'm thinking. I think this could be 2007 all over again.
There's been some crazy upsets, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But we still have a long way to go before we can say it's like 2007 again. Because that would mean
has
that
the recipe, you can
Alabama.
agree with me.
That would mean Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia, all three are going to get a loss. And I really don't see Ohio State, Georgia getting a loss. So,
I think Penn State and Michigan are going to be tests for them, for Ohio State, for sure.
And honestly, Saturday, Bama, we will get tested Saturday. This is the game. Arkansas, and I said this before the season even started. If Alabama loses a game this year, I said it would be to Arkansas. I feel a little better after watching Arkansas play A&M last week, but was they kind of overlooking them knowing they're playing us next? I don't know, but Alabama, Arkansas, I don't see Alabama winning by more than 10 points. I really don't.
another great game. This one's in the SEC. Kentucky at Mississippi. Mississippi, a 7-point favorite.
I think that's way too high for me.
I do too. I think it's way too high. I think, I've been
Kentucky.
saying Kentucky's an upset away from winning the SEC East. They're going to have to upset Georgia. That means that I think they're going to win all their other games. And I think they'll win this game. So I guess this is another upset I'm calling for.
But didn't Kentucky take it to the wire against somebody who is like way less talented than them last week?
Northern Illinois.
It didn't go to a wire, but yeah, it was closer than people thought. They didn't cover.
Yeah. So,
Well,
I mean,
31-17, I thought.
I thought it was closer than that.
I was thinking it was 34-20, 24 or something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was closer than that. I mean, but then again, Northern Illinois, not to hate on Alabama, has beaten Alabama before. I mean, we all remember 2003.
Yep.
I was 2 years old, so.
No, I was just getting out of junior.
I think Kentucky wins outright Saturday. I got them beating Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I do too.
I don't.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
By 7. I think Kentucky's going to win by 7.
They're a 7-point dog in this game too. So yeah, I think that line's going to move. I know that line's going to move because I think there's going to be a lot of money bet on Kentucky.
How's Ole Miss's defense?
Ole Miss has never really had a defense. That's the thing. I haven't watched any Ole Miss, but they've never really had a defense.
No.
All right, then I'm taking Kentucky then.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't going to. But if Ole Miss doesn't have a defense and Kentucky does have an offense, so, I mean, yeah.
Well, and let's be honest, Ole Miss's offense does not look like Ole Miss's offense so far the first 4 games this year.
Well, I haven't seen a single game from Ole Miss, so I'm just going by off of what I see on the internet and what everybody else is saying and trying to somewhat form my opinion.
Well, they're scoring 28 to 35 points a game, and that Ole Miss team usually scores 40 to 50,
Okay.
Another great game. Here we go. Another great game.
Hey guys, I got to get off here. But anyway, sorry. Hey, J.K. Marshall, SEC dog, you can both flick my butthole while you give me a reach around. Fuck you.
All right. So another great game in the Big 12. Texas Tech at Kansas State. 2 teams coming off big victories. Texas Tech beating Texas. Kansas State beating Oklahoma. Kansas State favored by 8. The game's at Kansas State. So Texas Tech, Kansas State. That's a game I'm not going to touch. I wouldn't touch that game for nothing. It's 8 point. I could see Kansas State beating Texas Tech by 8, and I could see Texas Tech beating Kansas State by 8. Over under is 57. I ain't touching that either.
I think Texas Tech has played better than Kansas State up until last week. I think if you look who Texas Tech has played and won and who Kansas State has played and kind of struggled, I think, you would say Texas Tech up until last week was a better team. But then the way Kansas State beat Oklahoma, now it makes you wonder, and I agree with you guys. I don't think I would want to bet on this game. I think it could go one of 2 ways, and you just don't know.
Well,
Same here. I'm
resident,
not touching this one.
Japan guy here. We got a resident Japan
Morning,
guy
fellas.
here. Morning.
Hey, konnichiwa.
Hi, all. Right.
Wait, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yay!
How y'all been?
Oh man, we're doing great. We are.
Well,
We're doing
I-
I heard. Joe, you ain't gonna touch the Texas Tech game with a 50-foot pole, ain't that right?
No, I'm not going to
None
touch
of us
Texas
are.
Tech and Kansas State.
Mm-mm.
Nah. Nope.
I just got Kentucky
game
on the
I will.
adjusted spread for plus 240 to cover 2.5 minus 2.5. So hopefully that'll hit. But yeah.
I think that's a safe bet for you, Will.
Mm-hmm.
A game I will touch. I like this. I like this game. I like this, and this is going to be an interesting game. Texas A&M at Mississippi State. Mississippi State, 3.5 point favorite, and I like that. I like that point spread, 3.5 point favorite, because that's telling me this is a push to Mississippi State, maybe a half point favorite. I like Texas A&M in this game.
I think the cowbells will be ringing down hard on Jimbo by the end of this one. I got Mississippi State.
I got Mississippi State winning outright. I think Texas A&M is too worried about my birthday the following week when they have to come to Tuscaloosa, and I think they overlooked Mississippi State. And Mississippi State, Mike Leach is a coach you never want to bet against because, I mean, he's just crazy. You don't know what's going to happen. And so anytime you bet against Mississippi State, I mean, it's tough to do. And I do believe that A&M does kind of sleep on Mississippi State a little bit, thinking about Bama. And I think they slip up and lose.
Is this at College Station?
Starkville.
Nope, Starkville.
Yeah.
It's in Starkville.
So those
Yeah,
Bulls will be rolling about a half hour before the game and won't stop.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to switch and go with Mississippi State then.
Well, I just think that here's my thought. I think Jimbo Fisher's kind of coaching for his job right now, and that means his coordinators are as well. So I think that with the talent he's got, they're going to coach him up and get in there and get a win. That's why I'm going with Texas A&M.
Can I ask you guys a question, though?
Yeah.
You say that Jimbo Fisher is coaching for his job. He gets $90 million to be fired. Why would you really care? You know what I mean?
Really, I know.
$90 million to sit home.
I mean, regardless, even with his current, Tyga, even with his current contract, Jimbo Fisher cannot lose.
Right. Yeah. I mean, fire me. I'll go home for $90 million. I mean,
Shit, me too. You know what I would do with that? Eat it.
Hey, shout out to Coos. Coos' Corner's in the house. Shout out to Coos down there.
What's up, Coos?
Welcome in, Coos.
I don't know if y'all already touched this game. I hopped into the live stream 15 minutes ago. West Virginia and Texas in Austin.
Yeah, we touched on it. Go ahead. Tell us what you're thinking.
Seeing how Texas just lost to Texas Tech in Lubbock, and also seeing how West
Yeah,
Virginia
hold on a second. Jeffrey, can I mute you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can mute on my end.
Okay, go ahead and mute on your. Okay.
All right. I know the game's in Austin. Austin is a very tough road environment, to say the least. West Virginia's won in Austin before, especially coming off a win in Blacksburg, which is, for us at least, notoriously hard to play. And seeing as Texas lost to Texas Tech, I think West Virginia will come out on top. Our offense will just run all over them, especially with C.J. Donaldson.
The majority of the panel thought that, and I'll tell you what my thought was that Texas still has a culture problem. This time it's on defense because their defensive coordinator, if he does good, everybody wants to say it's because of Gary Patterson. If they have a bad week like they did last week, everybody's blaming the defensive coordinator. That's a bad culture problem. So I just think that they haven't fixed their problems down there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I could be wrong, but
I would also say that though, as much as the majority of us are saying West Virginia is going to win, my 2 cents, if anyone on the team is watching, don't get too overconfident. If we get too overconfident, we're bound to lose. Because that mindset is very hard to shake once you're in the game. If we go in thinking we're going to steamroll Texas and Austin, and they end up surprising us, that shakes our whole mojo in the game, and that can cause us to lose. So, if we don't get too overconfident, but we play our hardest, West Virginia will handedly beat Texas.
So they say you're supposed to win the games that you need to win the games you're supposed to win. Mm-hmm. Texas is supposed to win this game. It's in Austin. Texas is favored. Texas has a more talented team. But I just think that West Virginia, I think Hart is going to win this game. I think West Virginia's going to go in there and play their best, give them their best shot. And I just think that, that West Virginia will beat them. And we got the Oklahoma State man in with us. All right. Hey, welcome back, buddy.
Hey, how are you boys doing today?
Good.
Doing good. I picked your Oklahoma State Cowboys a while ago to win.
Same.
We're going to. I'll tell you that. Hopefully.
You better.
Man, I've been trying to tune in to the whole press conferences and everything, and I've been listening to old Dave Aranda talk. I just can't listen to him talk very long. I'm about to fall asleep.
Tim Prangley says, I think you guys have your gold and blue glasses on. I have my normal glasses on. I see perfectly fine. I think touchdown, maybe field goal. It's going to be close though. I think it's going to be West Virginia by, at minimum, a field goal. At maximum, around 10, 14 points.
Who do you all think, like, there's a lot of good games this weekend. Who do you all think is the best game?
I think your game, man. That your game and NC State, Clemson.
That's true. Baylor and Oklahoma State, man, that's going to be a good game. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be locked all eyes on Fayetteville, too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be a real good game.
I think Alabama and Arkansas is going to be a really good game, too.
And we're not going to discuss it, but a really good game, I think, is Michigan going to Iowa.
Yeah.
Iowa don't have an offense, but they got a hell of a defense. So, you know what I mean? Now, the good news for Michigan is it's an 11 a.m. kickoff. Yeah. Because if it was a night kickoff, I would take Iowa because Iowa just has magic for some reason when the lights are on. But I do think the Iowa-Michigan game would be good.
It's also got the biggest point spread for an Iowa game this year, I think. It's at 42.5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Michigan and Iowa. Let me check the spread.
The over-under is 42.5. I'm taking the under.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't see Iowa scoring more than 14, and I don't see Michigan scoring more than 20, 21. So
that's true. I think Michigan's going to mop the floor with them. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, Iowa, man, they just cannot. They just don't have an offense at all. Like, I mean, they are terrible. They are horrible than horrible.
Damn. Yeah, the only way Iowa's going to beat you is a pick six, fumble, punt return, kick return, stuff like that. That's how Iowa beat you. That offense is not going to beat you. That offense cannot drive 80 yards and score a touchdown on anybody.
No.
No.
Okay, Oklahoma State, man, you want to hear this. Silas in the chat says, Oklahoma State going to win the Big 12.
I think we have a huge shot. I think that the Big 12 is just super chaotic this year. There's so much potential. It seems like in a lot of teams. I dog on Oklahoma all the time. I don't like Oklahoma, but I'll tell you this right now. I think that they're going to bounce back harder than ever after they just lost to Kansas State.
Yeah.
And Baylor's tough, and I don't know. I'm hoping if we can keep our mistakes at a minimum, and if we can play good defense and run the ball, I'm gonna tell you this right now, we're gonna have a hell of a shot.
Mm-hmm. Are you very confident in Bedlam this year?
Do what now?
Are you confident about the Bedlam game against the Sooners?
Oh, I am very confident. I'm actually going to be at that game. So I'm kind of excited.
One for a long time.
That's exactly why I decided to go this time. And my goodness, guys, them tickets were outrageous. Woo!
Yeah, I'd say.
How much?
Yeah.
$300 a piece.
Yeah, that's what they were for the Pitt and West Virginia game.
Yeah, and that was just for nosebleeds.
The West Virginia Texas game, looking on Vivid Seats right now, $3.
I'll be honest with you though, the most I ever spent on a game, I went and watched Will's team play Florida State back in the '80s, and it was $1,200.
Is that Jerry Faust era?
No, Holtz was there.
Okay.
I went there.
93.
Was it
Did you,
92 or 93? It was 1 versus 2. And yeah, it was $1,200 to go to that game.
My goodness.
That was a good game.
And I'm not even a Notre Dame or a Florida State fan, but that was the best game of the year. Also, I'd like to J.K. Marshall asked me a question, and he said, didn't Tide guys say Texas A&M already contacted Urban Meyer with money on the table? What I heard is Texas A&M has contacted Urban Meyer, and I heard it's between $150 and $180 million on the table for Urban Meyer.
Whoa.
And
If
all I
anyone
can
needs
say
to get
is
Urban Meyer, it would probably be Nebraska. in my
and Nick
opinion.
Saban hopes
That's
it
what I
happens.
was thinking too. I mean, because Urban
Urban
Meyer,
Meyer's
let's
failure
all
was
this,
Big Ten.
yeah, let's all admit, just Urban Meyer as an NFL coach, obviously it didn't really work out, but that dude is a hell of a college coach.
Yeah, he
The only
is
problem with Urban Meyer, though,
something
is
happened.
he's going to leave your
And then
team
he-
worse off when he leaves.
I mean, if
Yeah,
he,
I mean,
if he has a good coordinator
anything
like
can
Day, I don't think it's as bad as it was with Florida. If he has like a good coordinator to take his place.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's just so much drama with Urban Meyer, in my opinion. You know, I just don't know if of course, now we are talking about Texas A&M, but you know, there's just so much drama with Urban Meyer. If you got anytime one little thing goes wrong
Sticking
with the
fingers and
coaching
butts and shit.
staff, he's going to holler that he's having chest pains or he's got a brain tumor or something's wrong with him. You know, so I just don't see that happening. I really don't. I mean, I think they can offer him all they want to. I don't know if he's going to come back to coaching.
And the
I
problem
know
with
I
Texas A&M,
was him. I'd be too embarrassed.
Texas A&M has the same problem as Texas. Their boosters run that program because those boosters got billions and billions of dollars. They think they're the gods, you know.
Yeah.
But Texas oil, man.
Take their money. I mean, if somebody offers you $15 million, take that money. Who cares, you know?
Yep,
I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but this was kind of in the rumor mill that they were paying Bijan Robinson this year almost $10 million. I don't know if that's true or not.
I thought he got a
Like
Lamborghini or something. I thought he got a
Did he?
Lamborghini. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a Lamborghini he got.
I'm trying to think. 'Cause right now,
one too.
I thought the highest paid player was $8 million, and it wasn't Robinson.
Hey, I'm gonna have to hop
At
off here.
Tennessee.
My work keeps calling.
All right.
Okay, Jeffrey. Thanks for coming in, man.
No problem.
Come back,
All
man.
right. I will.
Yeah,
bye.
the Tennessee quarterback. Oh my gosh, his name's slipping my mind.
Hendon Hooker.
starts with an H.
Hendon prostitute.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker. He. I think he's the highest paid one. But I know Quinn Ewers got a Lamborghini, and I'm thinking Robinson got a Lamborghini as well. I think
Wow.
part of their NIL package.
But you know what's
Bryce
crazy
Young.
is that it's crazy because Quinn Ewers and Bijan, man, they make such an unbelievable difference to that team. It's unreal. I mean, when Ewers is off the field, man, it is so apparent. He is.
Yeah.
Did what?
Tim, you're right. It's on lease. Tim was saying they're on lease, and you're right. And matter of fact, any cars that football players get are just leases.
Yeah.
But it'd still be nice. Like I read somewhere where one of the Ohio State players, it might have been the quarterback, he gets a new Mercedes every 45 days. A different Mercedes Benz every 45 days.
Wow.
But have you seen the last 3 players who signed at Alabama or who's committed to Alabama? Alabama made a sign that says titles over Lambos.
That's awesome.
Coach Saban.
I know how Nick Saban feels about that NIL stuff.
Yeah.
He ain't wrong.
No,
Well,
he
let's
ain't,
talk
because
about the
I'll tell you that
Alabama-
money's going to ruin college football.
We touched on it a second, but we didn't really talk about it too much. Let's talk about the Alabama-Arkansas game, because the line on that game is Alabama's favored by 17, and the over-under is 60.5.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that line seems really high. I might go with that line if it was at Alabama, but we're talking about this is at Arkansas. I have to take Arkansas on the points there. I don't think Arkansas is going to win the game.
I don't want to admit this, but Alabama had a much better team last year than we have this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Arkansas has a much better team this year than they had last year. Arkansas went into Tuscaloosa last year and lost by 7. We're going to Fayetteville this year. So, like I said earlier, I feel a little better the way Arkansas played A&M last week, but I don't think Alabama wins this game by more than 10.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. I could not give up 17 points to Arkansas. Now, next week when we're on here, I'll tell you right now, I'll give anybody 28 points if they want to take A&M next week because we're going to kill them for what they did.
I would take Alabama, but I would also say just based on yards allowed comparison in passing and rushing, Arkansas almost doubles Alabama, if not outright. So that could lead to something being in Alabama's favor, even if it's in Fayetteville. However, I'm going to have to go to Alabama with this one.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. But I'm going to take Arkansas by 7.
You're going to take them straight up to win.
Yep, straight up. I'm just gonna, because there's so much craziness going on right now. It would not surprise me in and of the least if Arkansas comes out with the win.
I'm picking Arkansas to win by 3, and the kicker that missed the kick against A&M will redeem himself and kick the game-winning kick in Fayetteville.
Yeah.
But it's like I told you guys before the season started. I said if Alabama loses a game this year, this would be the game.
I think you may be right, brother.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the team that scares me. I mean, there's other teams that we're going to play. A&M is a lot more talented, but I'm not worried about them this year. I think Ole Miss has a better offense, but I think if you go all around, I had Arkansas before the year finishing second in the West. I mean, I'm really impressed with Arkansas. I think they played a little below where they should be this year, but I do think this is going to be a tough game.
As FSU 45, to answer your question over in the chat, we did talk about the Florida State Wake Forest game, and I took Wake Forest, but everybody else took FSU, but I took Wake Forest to upset FSU.
Mm-hmm.
So
I took Wake Forest.
SEC Dog says, I think Alabama wins, but Arkansas covers, but it's worth putting a few on the money line IMO.
Yeah, it is worth putting a few on the money line for a straight up win, but I would definitely take those points. You know, I mean, why not? If we're going to give you 17.5 points, take them. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if y'all have talked about this yet tonight, but I think one of the most interesting games of the weekend, besides down at Baylor and Fayetteville, I think it's going to be Kansas and Iowa State.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Most of us actually have Kansas winning, even though they're
Kansas.
I do too. I don't think Iowa State's going to be able to overcome that offense.
You know what? This may be just a group of 5 game, but I think it's still worth talking about, at least a tiny bit. Tulane and Houston.
The toilet bowl.
About that one as well.
We talked about that one, and we all thought Tulane would win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Tulane to their credit, a lot of people don't.
Another group of 5 game.
A lot of people
another
don't
group of 5 game. It'll be a good game. This is going to be a good game too. Is Troy and Western Kentucky. Kentucky's a 5-point favorite, and it's at Western Kentucky. That'll be a good game. I think I would take Troy in the game, but Western Kentucky's a pretty good team. So
yeah,
I'd say Troy fought hard against North Dakota State, almost beat them. Wasn't that who they played last?
No, it was Appalachian State, wasn't it?
Was it? I could have sworn. I thought it was North Dakota State.
Appalachian State.
Yeah, it was App State.
App State, man,
that
against JMU.
That's even
I
better.
Yeah,
Now-
that's even better. To me, though, there's no shame in losing to Appalachian State. Just ask Michigan.
No.
One game I would like to talk about. A couple weeks ago, we saw Herm Edwards have a meeting in the end zone to get fired. I think Saturday night, there's going to be a meeting in the locker room at halftime when LSU is thumping Auburn. And I think Auburn's coach does not come out for the second half. I think they're going to just go ahead and say goodbye to him at halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
sounds
going
like
to be
that
funny. You know,
movie,
and
Varsity
actually, I'm
Blues.
glad you brought that game up because I went by that game on purpose because I wanted to say that for that reason. And it's a
I'm
great time
sorry.
to talk about it. Because, no, it's a great time to talk about it because I agree. The man's getting fired. LSU's going to stomp him.
Man, Harshan, if you can just win one more game for me, Harshan, just one more game, please.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Has that
I-
ever
I-
happened?
I would like to tell Auburn that Alabama, I think, has got a GoFundMe page for like $3 million. If they'd like to keep Harsin a couple more years, we'd be glad to pay for his contract to help him out.
Super chat.
Sergeant Pickles, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. He said, Pack bias here. University of Washington, UCLA contend or pretend matchup. We talked about that
UCLA's a
one earlier.
pretender. UCLA's a
Yeah.
pretender.
Washington's
I
a
think we-
contender. UCLA's a pretender, yeah.
Yeah, we all
have
took
more-
Washington in that game.
Washington.
Yeah.
We all took Washington. And as a matter of fact, I even said that Washington would have more fans there.
Well, heck, if they
I was
bring
just
the
about to bring
fans,
that up,
they'll have more
Joey.
fans.
We have more fans at our game than they do.
Yeah, you do.
What time?
You do.
Actually, our last game, I was at the Rhode Island game. We had 54,000 people there.
Well, you know, it's glad to see your fans are starting to come around. Because, you know, just a few years
Bandwagoners.
ago, y'all had trouble getting 10,000 fans in there. Honestly.
Too. Yeah, that is true, but I don't trust this fan base. I don't trust it.
No.
Well, guys, let's wrap this show up for tonight. Let everybody say their
Virginia
final
Tech
words.
wins.
Appreciate you guys coming in. Appreciate all the super chats, everything. Talk a spit. You want to give us your final word there?
Yeah, we got the Georgia Tech Piss Jackets this weekend at 8:00. From last time I looked, the spread was 21. And
Yeah.
a lot of people said they wouldn't touch that game, but I do believe we could win by 21. Absolutely.
It is
Georgia Tech's run defense is horrible. Their pass defense is even worse than ours, and ours isn't that great. So I do think it being at Heinz Field, Accushire Stadium. Yeah, with Heinz Field, but you know, just for the Pitt fans out there who give me a hard time for not saying the other name, but because it's at night too, I think Georgia Tech's gonna get their ass whooped.
Yeah, I agree with you. Talk spit. Thanks
Excuse
for
the
coming
language,
in, man.
but,
We
you know.
appreciate you.
No problem.
Yeah. We appreciate you coming in, man. All right. Well, Japan,
Right.
appreciate you coming in with us again.
It's always a pleasure.
Got any?
Honestly, we're gonna have a lot of good games this week. I was looking at the slate, and this is probably gonna be when I'm asleep. Virginia Tech, North Carolina. I think North Carolina is gonna absolutely wipe the floor with Virginia Tech.
Have you
Especially
seen their
because-
defense, man? Have you seen their defense? It doesn't look too good.
Has anybody seen their defense? Has their defense showed up any time?
No, I think I saw a missing poster the other day for their defense. I don't know. Where can we find them? But I'm still going to be focusing mainly, just as I think all y'all are, on well, except Tide Guy. Tide Guy's got the game with Arkansas to look forward to. West Virginia and Texas. Always. It's always a fun game to watch. I'm going to make sure I tune into that game. But beyond that, that's all from me. I got to head to class, so Let's go Mountaineers,
All right.
and see y'all later.
See you
Have a good
later.
one.
Jim Prangley's reminding us that the Pack show tonight, 7:45, but that's his time. I think it's 10:45, isn't it, Will?
Yep.
Yeah, 10:45.
10:45. 10:45 Eastern time on Mark Rogers' main channel and the USC channel. That's a great show. Anybody, I mean, you'll enjoy that show even if you're not a Pac-12 fan. I promise you, because Tim and them do a great job. Will, you're on there sometimes. Give us your final word and talk about that show a little bit.
Yeah, I'm hoping next week we're taking on BYU. It's a holy war. We must defend the faith, and we must also defend the volleyball players. So go Irish for that one next week. And yeah, the Pac-12 show, it's a ton of fun. I'm not sure. I know sometime soon we're going to have the Washington State Chancellor on, so that'll be great. And yeah, it's just a fun time to talk about all the Pac-12 matchups. I've learned a lot from the guys from Pac-12, a lot more about the Pac-12 and the fan bases that I didn't know about as an East Coaster. So yeah, and it's just a ton of fun. Like Tony and Tim are some of the best guys to talk about, as well as Rick and TBM. They're all really fun, nice guys, and yeah, just a great place to talk football.
Yeah, it is a good show. Well, we'll appreciate you coming in, buddy. I appreciate you being here with me today.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me on, Joey.
See you later, Will.
See you later.
Chad Guy, my man, Alabama's got a big game this weekend, but 17-point favorite. I can't buy it. I still think y'all win. I know you're saying it's possible upset. I think Alabama wins, but I'm sorry, I got to take Arkansas on them points.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up more than 10. 10 would be my limit. I think that's the most we win by is 10. I'd like to tell everybody out there, if you haven't already, sign up for Patreon. You get every Sunday we do a Patreon show. You get discounts in the shop, in the store, and Golden Blue Dude has a pick 'em every week where you can win $20. The other thing I would tell everybody is in the chat, look for Will. Will has started his own channel now. So if you could subscribe to him. And then here in a few, I'll put my link in. I'm Tide Guy. You want to look me up, I do videos. And starting next Tuesday, Joey, on my channel, on Tuesday nights, I'm going to start sports game night. We're going to do a sports Jeopardy. So anybody who wants to learn a little bit, come over on Tuesday night on my show. We'll do some Jeopardy, and you can learn some facts about college sports and sports in general.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be on that show, Anna, with you.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun. I look forward to it. So you bring D4 in there because as long as you don't have D4 and Mark Rogers in there talking sports and answering sports questions, I might have a chance. But if you bring D4 and Mark Rogers in there, I'm screwed.
You're going to have Tony and Tim. So those two, yeah. That's why I'm hosting it. So that way I don't have to look like the dummy. I'll ask the questions. So that way, nobody will see how dumb I really am. But it'll be a good time. I promise. And we're going to figure something out. We're going to keep a running tally. And every 2 or 3 months, I'll send you guys prizes. And we'll have a little competition to make it fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun. We got another new channel too. There's another new channel too, and Kenny's been on our show several times. WVU Mountaineer Lair with Kenny. Be sure and sub that channel up. He's just starting out. He's got several videos on there, and he's wanting to get to 50 subs to go live. So let's help Kenny out there a little bit. Kenny, post your link to your channel if you would. So, well, Guy, I appreciate you coming on with us.
It's always fun being on with you and hanging out, and you do a great job. I know you don't like to. I know you don't like to host so much, but you do a good job.
Yeah, I'm not much of a host, but I enjoy it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy the crap out of it. It's just, people are not coming in to see me really. They're coming in to see you guys, and that's why I like to have all y'all on, because they like to see you. So I appreciate all of you coming on.
Great group of chats. I mean, these guys ask tons of questions and that. So I mean, that makes
Yeah.
it easy too when you're hosting a show, when you got a lot of people asking good questions and that. I mean, it really does help.
And I appreciate all the super chats in there today. Those help our live shows, keep our live shows going. There's not, I'll be honest with you guys, there's no money in a live show. There's just not any money in a live show. So live shows, they rely on super chats, PayPals, Cash Apps, things like that. And so we appreciate everything you do for us. Appreciate your support. And John, I appreciate that comment there. So, well, listen, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thank everybody for coming in once again. Everyone have a great night, great evening. Gold Blue Dude should be back with you tomorrow. If he's still under the weather, me and Jeff will be here. Why don't you come back and join us? All right, we'll see everybody later.
Bye, everyone.